Arrowhead Stadium's been home to the Kansas City Chiefs since 1972, but a major change could be on the horizon. The team is now seriously considering a move. Who's driving this decision? How will it impact loyal fans? And what are the financial implications? Let's take a closer look. What Arrowhead Stadium means to the Chiefs. Arrowhead Stadium isn't just a bunch of seats and turf. It's got a rock-solid history that cannot be overlooked. Fans have been screaming their lungs out here for decades, creating one of the loudest atmospheres in the NFL. It's like the Chiefs' own backyard party, and everyone's invited. But this place is more than just a stadium. It's a fortress, a battleground, and the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. Speaking of noise, did you know Arrowhead holds the Guinness World Record for the loudest crowd roar at an outdoor stadium? Yep, back in 2014, during a Monday night game against the Patriots, Chiefs fans cranked up the decibel to a ridiculous 142 decibels. That's louder than a jet airplane at takeoff. As you can see, opposing teams don't just play at Arrowhead, they survive it. The stadium design keeps the sound bouncing around, making it a total nightmare for visiting quarterbacks. Even the best players in the league struggle to communicate here. Now, let's get to the history. Arrowhead has seen some legendary moments. The Chiefs won their first AFC championship at Arrowhead in 1970 before heading to Super Bowl IV and beating the Vikings. But the real party started decades later. In 2019, Pat Mahomes and co. brought home the Lamar Hunt Trophy for the first time at Arrowhead. What made it special is that the championship trophy is named after the Chiefs' founder. This win sent them to Super Bowl 54, where they broke a 50-year championship drought by beating the Niners. Yeah, imagine the confetti, the celebrations, and the emotions. Arrowhead was rocking like never before. But that's not all, as Arrowhead is also home to some of the most memorable games in NFL history. Remember the 2018 AFC Championship against the Pats? It was an overtime thriller that ended in a heartbreak for the Chiefs, but proved that they were knocking on the door of greatness. The following year, they smashed that door down, coming back from a 24-point deficit to obliterate the Texans in the 2019 playoffs. Arrowhead practically shook that day. Then there's the 2022 AFC Divisional Round against the Bills. That was a game for the ages. With just 13 seconds left, Mahomes pulls off an impossible drive to force overtime, then wins with a touchdown pass to Kelsey. That game alone cemented Arrowhead's rep as a place where impossible things happen. But Arrowhead's not just about the Chiefs either. It's hosted college football, concerts, even soccer matches. In fact, the 2026 FIFA World Cup will bring global attention to the stadium, but let's be real, no event is gonna match the energy of a Chiefs home game. For Chiefs fans, Arrowhead is home. It's where generations have tailgated, high-fived strangers, and lost their voices screaming for their team. It's where heartbreaks turn to triumphs and where football isn't just a game, it's life. Why they might have to leave, the 2030 deadline. So, with all that history, why are the Chiefs contemplating leaving Arrowhead? Well, here's the deal. The Chiefs' lease at Arrowhead runs out after the 2030 season. That might sound like a long way off, but in the world of stadium deals, it's right around the corner. Clark Hunt, the boss of the Chiefs, is feeling the heat to figure out what's next. He's got about 6.5 years to come up with a plan, and the clock is ticking. So why not just renew the lease and keep the party going at Arrowhead? Well, it's not that simple. Stadiums do age, and while Arrowhead still looks awesome, it's over half a century old. The Chiefs had big renovation plans, which included an $800 million facelift that would have updated the stadium after the 2026 World Cup, but they needed financial help, and that's where things hit a snag. Jackson County voters were asked to extend a sales tax to help fund the project, and they shut it down. Almost 60% of voters said no, leaving the Chiefs with a big question mark about their future. Without the funding, the Chiefs are now exploring other options. One of the biggest possibilities is moving to Kansas. That's right, Kansas City's beloved football team could actually play in Kansas and not Missouri. The idea of a brand new domed stadium in Kansas has been floated, and while it sounds exciting, it's also controversial. Leaving Arrowhead would mean saying goodbye to decades of history and memories. Plus, a domed stadium? Sure, it would be great for year-round events, but would it really feel like home? Then there's the biz side of things. The Chiefs don't need just a stadium, they need a money-making machine. New stadiums come with modern amenities, luxury suites, and better sponsorship opportunities. NFL teams make a huge chunk of their revenue from stadium deals, and Arrowhead, as iconic as it is, might not be keeping up anymore. Another thing is to consider the Royals. The KC Royals, who share the Truman Sports Complex with the Chiefs, are also trying to move. If they go, they would make staying at Arrowhead more complicated for the Chiefs. It might even make more financial sense for them to build a brand new stadium elsewhere rather than renovate an aging one with fewer shared expenses. At the end of the day, the decision isn't just about football. It's about money, politics, and long-term sustainability. The Chiefs have got a passionate fan base, and whatever decision they make will have a massive impact on Kansas City. Will they stay and fight for Arrowhead, or will they take their talents across state lines? That's the million-dollar question, and the next few years will determine that answer. How else can they raise money for their stadium? So, with just over 60% of Jackson County voters giving a thumbs down to the sales tax proposal aimed at funding stadium renovations, the Chiefs are left scratching their helmets, wondering how to cough up money for their beloved Arrowhead. So, what are the options? First, the Chiefs could look inward and tap into private funding. This means team owners led by Clark Hunt might have to open up their wallets a little wider than they want to. The Hunt families have been at the helm since the team's inception, and with the Chiefs' valuation soaring at over $4.8 billion as of 2024, they've got some financial muscle to flex. By investing more of their own capital, they could cover a significant chunk of renovation costs. However, this approach might not be their first choice as it puts more financial risk on their shoulders. Another avenue is cozying up toward corporate sponsorships. By selling naming rights to the stadium or specific sections within, the Chiefs can rake in substantial funds. Additionally, partnerships with local and national businesses for advertising and exclusive vendor rights can add more zeros to the funding pool. More so, the Chiefs could introduce personal seat licenses, or PSLs for short, where fans pay a one-time fee for the rights to purchase season tickets. On top of that, offering premium experiences like VIP lounges, exclusive events, and behind-the-scenes access can entice fans to shell out more cash. But while this strategy can generate significant revenue, it risks alienating the average fan who just wants to enjoy a game without taking out a second mortgage. Now, the Chiefs could also explore public-private partnerships. This involves collaborating with local governments to share the cost and benefits of stadium renovations. For instance, the team could propose a deal where they cover a portion of the costs and the city or county covers the rest, possibly through bonds or other financing methods. This approach requires delicate negotiation and a compelling case to convince public officials and taxpayers that the investment will yield economic benefits for the community. Speaking of tax, considering that the initial sales tax proposal flopped, the Chiefs might consider alternative tax measures that are more palatable to voters. That could include targeted taxes like hotel or rental car taxes that primarily affect out-of-towners. By shifting the tax burden away from local residents, the team might gain more public support. However, this strategy requires legislative approval and still faces the challenge of convincing voters that the benefits outweigh the costs. But don't forget that the NFL itself has programs to assist teams with stadium financing. The league's G4 program provides loans to teams for stadium construction and renovation, which are repaid through revenue generated by the stadium. By securing funds through the program, the Chiefs can alleviate some financial pressure. However, these loans typically require matching funds, meaning the team still needs to come up with a significant portion of the costs. In the end, there's no magic play that'll solve the Chiefs' stadium funding dilemma. It'll likely require a combination of private investment, corporate sponsorships, fan contributions, public partnerships, creative tax strategies, and league support. Navigating this complex financial landscape will be a true test of the team's leadership and their commitment to keeping the Chiefs in KC. What playing in Kansas would mean for the Chiefs? Pros and cons. Now, let's talk about a potential game changer, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs moving to, well, Kansas. Sounds like a no-brainer. After all, Kansas is right there in the name. But before we start packing our bags, let's weigh the pros and cons of such a move. First off, Kansas lawmakers are rolling out the red carpet, offering enticing financials to lure the Chiefs across the border. These incentives could significantly offset the cost of building a new stadium, making the move financially appealing. With both houses of the Kansas legislature passing bills to support such development, the state is signaling it's ready to make a deal. Also, building a new stadium in Kansas presents an opportunity to design a state-of-the-art facility equipped with the latest amenities. Fans could enjoy enhanced experiences from improved seating to advanced technology integrations. A modern stadium could also attract other events, boosting revenue during the off-season. A new stadium can also serve as an economic catalyst for the surrounding area. Local businesses could see increased traffic on game days, and the construction phase could create jobs. Additionally, the development could spur further investments in infrastructure and entertainment venues, enhancing the community's appeal. But so much for the pros, let's take a look now at the cons. The first downside to consider is that moving to Kansas could alienate a portion of the Chiefs' loyal fan base, particularly those in Missouri who have supported the team for decades. The emotional attachment to Arrowhead and its rich history cannot be easily replicated in a new location. Fans might feel betrayed, leading to decreased attendance and support. Relocating also involves a myriad of logistical hurdles, from securing land and permits to constructing the stadium itself. These processes are time-consuming and fraught with potential delays. With this in mind, will playing in Kansas be worth it for the Chiefs? Time will tell. Fan feedback. Chiefs want your 2 cents. Now, the Chiefs aren't making these decisions in a vacuum. This isn't just some behind-closed-doors hush-hush operation where a few people in suits make a call and everyone else has to deal with it. No, the Chiefs do know how much their fans love Arrowhead, and they're smart enough to ask for opinions before making a move. So they did what any good team would do. They put out surveys, lots of them. These surveys aren't just asking if you like hot dogs or nachos at the concession stand. They're hitting the real questions. Should Arrowhead get a fancy facelift, or should the Chiefs pack up and move to a brand new stadium? Should it be indoors? Should it stay in Missouri? What's more important, history or modern convenience? And perhaps the biggest question of all, how much do you love Arrowhead and how much would it take for you to say goodbye to it? Now, let's be real. Some fans see no problem with Arrowhead as it is. They love the history, the atmosphere, and let's not forget, Arrowhead is the loudest stadium in the league. But then you got another group saying, hey, the world is moving forward, maybe it's time for the Chiefs to get with the times. They want better seating, upgraded facilities, and protection from freezing temps in the winter and the scorching heat come September. Social media has, of course, exploded with opinions. Some are screaming, save Arrowhead at all costs, while others are sketching up ideas for a futuristic, high-tech, spaceship-looking stadium that could land the Super Bowl every few years. One thing's for sure, though. People are passionate about this, and no matter what the Chiefs decide, they're going to hear about it loudly, as they should. This team knows they got to get it right. They're gathering feedback, crunching numbers, and trying to figure out the best move for everyone, including the players, fans, the city, and their wallets. So if you've got opinions, and let's be honest, you do, now is the time to make them known. The fate of Chiefs Kingdom is being decided, and if you don't speak up, you can't complain later. Well, you probably still will, but at least you had a chance to be heard. So there you have it. The Chiefs are at a crossroad, and the future of their home turf is up in the air. Whether they stay and spruce up Arrowhead or pack up for a new spot, it's clear that big changes are on the horizon for the Chiefs. At the end of the day, money is key to their future plans. Yes, opinions of the fans matter, but let's be real. How much is an opinion going to raise? The Chiefs need real solutions, and they need it sooner rather than later if they want to have a stadium of their own. So what do you think's going to happen? Will the Chiefs stay at Arrowhead, or are they going to pack up and relocate to Kansas? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We are committed to releasing 2 videos a week. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more visionary builds.